Ah, shit. Here we go again.
This prison story is about when Big Larry told me how he acquired 4 prison wives. And we not talking about women neither. So we are on our annual lockdown. And I end up getting into an altercation with my cellie. Long story short, I end up pulling out a knife. I put it to his neck and I told him, pray to Jesus. Right before I was about to do the deed, deputy came by. Yo, chill. I dropped the knife. He pulled me out and he told me like, yo, you can't keep doing this, Dante. This your 5th celly, dog. You can't be doing this. We on the annual lockdown right now. You know, you got the CERT team in here. You got the warden, the assistant warden in here. The governor be coming through here. Yo, you can't do this, Dante. And I'm like, well, hey, y'all gonna have to move me then. So he like, listen, I ain't gonna put you in a hole, but the only cell that's available right now is Big Larry's cell. So I said, Big Larry? He like, yeah, Big Larry. I said, all right, man, put me in there. He like, you sure? Because you know what? I said, man, put me in the cell. He was like, all right, Dante, after this, I can't do anything, man. If you mess up this time, you just gonna have to go to the hole. I said, all right, man. So I rolled it up. So I'm walking down the tier. Everybody like, yo, D, what's going on? Why they take you to the hole, bro? I'm like, nah, man, I'm about to sail up with Big Larry. They're like, Big Larry? I said, yeah. I'm like, all right. So I get down there. Big Larry is sitting on the toilet right now. I know he's sitting on the toilet because he got his white sheet up. Now, for those that don't know who Big Larry is, if this is your first time on the channel and you don't know who Big Larry is a man that, let's say, has acquired a certain taste for men. Big Larry is what you would call a prison pimp. Big Larry is a guy that, how can I put this without being too edgy? Big Larry is the type of guy that figured out, yo, I'm not never going home. That's my life. I want everything that comes with it, the good and the bad in prison. And unfortunately, he embraced the homosexual lifestyle, right? To the full, to the max. So nevertheless, I get up in there, right? And I'm like, yo, you know who I am? He was like, yeah, I seen you around here, man. I know who you are. I said, all right. I said, we straight? He was like, yeah, we straight. I said, I'm letting you know right now, I'm not with all that funny business. You understand? He was like, man, I know who you are, man. So I put my stuff up. He like, man, what you doing here anyway? I said, I had to put that knife on my bunkie. And he was like, oh, for real? I said, yeah. He was like, oh, okay. So I put my stuff up, right, and I hop on the top bunk. So I'm like, hey, Larry, let me ask you a question, bro. He's like, what's up? I said, man, how do you do that? Like, how do you do what you do? He was like, what do you mean by that? I was like, how do you be pimping out boys? Like, how do you acquire these dudes like that? Like, you know what I'm talking about? He was like, you really want to know? I said, yeah, shit, we ain't got nothing but time. He was like, well, there's a couple ways that I do it. You know, the first thing, getting the cat in debt or whatever. I said, yeah, I know all about that. I know all about getting cats in debt. I know that for sure. He's like, well, so here's the breakdown. Here's the rundown. So the first tier, you know, what I do is basically like the lowest level. What I would do if I would see a new guy come in or a cat that ain't got nothing, and if I want him, you know, I just go up to him and ask him, do he need anything? And you know, I just keep giving him stuff, commissary. I give him food, you know, soap, deodorant, whatever it is. And I just guilt trip them, after maybe about 2-3 weeks of feeding them and taking care of them. I tell them like, yo, I need something from you. And I just straight up tell them like, this is what I need from you. And most of the time they oblige. And if they, try to tell me, oh, I'm not like that and this and that, then I guilt trip them. I said, okay. And then he said, then I get what I want. He said the second tier, basically level 2, what he'd do is he'd go to the guy and tell him like straight up, hey, I want to be with you. And then, the guy be like, huh? And then he was like, yeah, I tell the guy, I want to be with you. And that's just what it is. And I said, so what if the guy tell you no? And he was like, if I really want the person, it's 2 ways I do it. Either I would just wear the person down, like every day I just walk up to him talking about, hey, beautiful, and, always, and give them stuff, of course, and, touch him, and, and just wear him down mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And then eventually they'll come around. He said another part of what I do is if I really, really like the person, and, and this is where somebody become my prison wife, is when, I treat them like a friend, like a girlfriend or whatever. And, we work out together and eat together, shower together, all that. Typically, I would know in the first 2 minutes how this gonna go when I approach somebody. I said, all right. He's like, given that we in prison, there ain't too many dates I can go in this month. You know what I'm saying? So, we'd just work out on the weight pile together. But what I would do is, when it's daytime to, lift, I stand like right over them or whatever, like in an uncomfortable manner. And if they don't tell me to move, I stay right there. You know what I'm talking about? And I said, yeah. Oh, and that's another, this is a tip for you young cats going to prison. If you got an older cat, or it ain't even got to be an older cat. If you out there, if y'all still got the weight pile out there and you, hit your reps or whatever, if a guy is standing directly over your head, when I say over your head, I mean if a guy got his nutsack right over your forehead while he's spotting you, man, tell that dude to move. That's a tactic right there. That right there is the dude trying to play the field, trying to see how far he can go with it. And if you don't check him, and you ain't got to be like, hey, man, get the F out. Man, what the F you doing? Just tell him like, hey, bro, could you bag up or like move to the side a little bit? That's it. You got to check that, dudes. I'm telling y'all, that's what, and nothing is done unintentional in prison. Everything has some type of sinister intent behind it, believe me. So anyway, he said, now my level 3 of what I do is if I see a guy come in here and I just really I don't want him to be a prison wife, but I want to pimp him out, or I want to be with him too. I want to pimp him out to be one of my hoes or whatever. What I would do is I would wait till he get in the cell, right? He said, actually, it goes beyond that. Let me tell you how I go from the beginning. He said, so he got his punks, because at this time he had 4 punks and 2 prison wives at this time. So he said they'd be out there recruiting. If a guy that I want is on another yard or whatever, I have my punks go out there and be like talking big about me, like, yeah, he take care of me, he keep me safe and all this, that, or whatever. And basically I can do it that way and then get that person moved here in our unit or whatever. Or another thing is which is the most extreme thing, is basically I go to my homeboy Bedrock is Big Larry, like his ace, like his best friend on here. He said he'd go to Bedrock and tell him like, listen, he'd go walk my commissary, he'd go Here go everything that I got, everything that I own. I'm gonna need for you to look after my prison wives and my boys, because I might be going to the hole for 5 or 6 months. And I said, what's going on with that? He said, because it only gonna go 2 ways. It only gonna go 2 ways. What I'm about to tell you. I said, what? So he said, like, once a guy get in here that I wanna be with or turn out or pimp out or whatever, what I would do is, once he get in his cell, I'll come right in with a knife and I'll throw it right on his bed or right next to him. And I will tell him, pick that knife up and take my life right now. 9 times out of 10, I already kind of did the research on the guy. Dude kind of timid. Dude is already, frail. You know what I'm talking about? Walking around with his head down, jumpy. You know the type, Dante. So yeah, I know what you mean. He like, yeah, so, I throw that knife on his lap and tell him to pick the knife up and take my life. And, I do it in an aggressive manner, like, yo, pick the knife up and take my life. The guy be like, what? Wait, what's going on? I don't know what's happening. What's going on? And then I walk up closer to him and be like, pick the knife up and kill me. And the guy be like, oh, no, man, come on. I don't know. What did I do wrong? So then he said he'll walk up more close to him and then slap him like, bow, smack him right in the face. He'd be like, I said pick the motherfucking knife up and take my life. Right? So he said, if the guy don't pick the knife up and get busy, I got him. He mine. But if he picked the knife up, well, this is why I gave all my to Bedrock, to take care of my wives and my boys, because I'm going to the hole. So whatever happened in that cell, gonna happen. I said, so have anybody ever bucked on you? He said, no, ain't nobody buck on me. I mean, just think about it. You a dude fresh from the county jail, ain't really about that action. You ain't never really fought in life. You soft. And a man come in your cell on your first or second day and throw a knife on your lap, telling you to take his life, meaning he's willing to go to the underworld for this. Well, I mean, what you gonna do? You gonna be terrified. A lot of cats ain't used to that. This is psychology, man. And dude just terrified because he don't want to take your life because he trying to figure out, what did I do? Why is he in here? I don't want to take nobody's life. I ain't never killed nothing, right? So what he gonna do? And he said after that, my process is this. I tell him like, yo, you gonna be with me, and that's just what it is. So I break him in, tell him he can't leave the cell for a week. I bring him his food. I have my punks and my wives come in here and talk to him, give him food, give him hygiene, but he can't leave this cell for a whole week. And then, once I do what I do to him multiple times or whatever, then I start having my punks sleep with him, right? So that's me breaking him in. So then I have him, go to other cats. I sell them to other cats, up in here that get down like that, maybe 5 packs of beef ramen noodles or 3 packs of some sausages, coffee, whatever it is. You know what I'm talking about? So then that's how I do it. I said, man, Big Larry, you run a cold program. I said, ain't nobody telling you, nobody try to get away from you? He said, nah, because on the real, I treat them right, man. These cats ain't got nothing, man. These cats, people done abandoned them, man. Some of these dudes have wives, baby mamas done cut them off, man. They ain't got no support. Most of these niggas will be on the real, Dante. Most of these dudes probably be on drugs or or I walk around here like a zombie, bro. But I take care of mine for sure, and I protect them. Like I wish a motherfucker would try to harm one of mine. I said, I hear you, bro. I hear you. I said, let me ask you this though, Big Larry, straight up, man to man. Was you like this out in the free world? He said, what you mean? I said, what you gay in the free world? It was like, I'm going to be real with you. No, I wasn't. I wasn't at all. I said, so where did this behavior, why did you like, well, let me tell you this. Now, you know how it is, Dante. You know what you do in this month, right? You know how you and your crew I know y'all be talking about y'all be protecting cats, but man, you niggas really running extortion, man. Cut it out. But I mean, this is just what I wanted to do. I got 2 life sentences, bro. I ain't coming home. I'm never coming home. So this is my life, and I just figured out a way. I ain't gonna be sleeping with none of these dirty bitches around here. He was talking about the female guards, and that's a whole nother story I'm got to tell y'all. And he was like, true, this just my life. And, if I can make money and live like a king in this, that's what I'm going to do. Shoot, that's just what it is. I said, all right, Larry. So I said, have you ever been molested before as a child or whatever? I'm asking him this because I was reading this book, this psychology book or whatever, and it said in the statistics like 98% of people that are homosexuals got touched when they was a child. Unhealed trauma. They never got therapy. They never got counseling. And, I just asked him, have you ever got molested when you was a child or something? And he was like, I'm going to be real, bro. Yeah, I did. For 3 years. My older cousin. Yeah. My older cousin did it. A couple times. And yeah. Now that you say that, Dante, I think that's my head up, bro. That's my head up. From age 3 years old to 6. Yeah, for 3 years. Yeah, I did. I said, you don't think that's the reason why you like that? It was like, you know what? It could be, but nah, I doubt it because I just, like I said, I'm here. I got 2 life sentences, bro, and I, like I told you, I'm gonna live the way that I live in this motherfucker. I said, all right, I hear you. So that's the story of how Big Larry told me how he got his 4 prison wives, y'all. I need to speak to the audience right quick. Okay. Number 1, y'all know what time it is. Y'all gotta do what y'all gotta do. And y'all know what that is. Hit the like button and share this video. The reason why I'm telling y'all to share the video, because we see in today's society, it ain't like the way we grew up. It's more violent. The youth is way more violent and out of control. And yeah, there's really not too much that we can do about it at this point. But somebody might listen to this video and decide to stop committing crimes. Somebody might listen to this video and be like, you know what? I don't want to be in there with no Big Larry, man. I don't want to be in there getting pressed for a man to make me be with him. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all really don't know the dangers of prison. Y'all don't, and it's not even about the Big Larrys or, the Sweet Lows or the Freaky Freddies up in there. It ain't really even about that. It's the loneliness. The fact that you ain't never coming home. The fact that every day can be for real, your last day in there. Hell, just that I was in there doing every day could have been my last day up in there, man. Somebody could have been like, man, bunk that. I'm not paying Dante no more. I'm not paying his toll. I'm not doing it. And whether for me to keep paying this man, I'm just going to put a knife in his neck. And, I'll deal with his homeboys when I deal with them, right? That's why I'm trying to tell y'all, man. Life, enjoy your freedom. And I know. People financials is crazy right now. I know it's hard out here. I know it is. Gas prices up, food prices is all the way to the roof. Man, I get it. Rent is what, 11, 12, 1300 for a 1-2 bedroom? I get it. But nevertheless, y'all, if anything, man, let's share this video. If you enjoyed this story time, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you forgot to hit the like button and share this video, make sure you take care of that. If you want to send a gift to support the channel, we are accepting gifts and donations via Cash App and PayPal. If you want to support another way, please contact me at 313-452-8981. That's 313-452-8981. Or email me at thedanteshow88@yahoo.com. Also, contact me if you need any type of promotion. Until next time, take care.